Hi, it's Janet and welcome to my channel. This is where you can be inspired, learn new techniques, and pick up some new tips and tricks. Get started by subscribing and clicking on the bell. Alright guys, here I am setting up to use the foil quill in the Brother machine. Now I have a CM350 and I want to just point out a couple things to you. One is, it is true that you cannot use or at least it's not recommended, to use the magnetic mat with the CM machines. It has to do with the thickness that the CM machines can handle. If you have a DX machine, it can handle 1 millimeter deeper of a product. So unfortunately the mat makes the sandwich, because you put the mat on top of your regular mat. It's just too thick apparently for the CM to use. I have not tried it because I don't want to ruin my machine, but I was asked that question and I initially thought, sure, you should be able to, but I did some research and found out that it is true. Magnetic mat out, unfortunately, for the CM350s. So what I'm here to do today is to show you how to use the little these little thumb drives that you can buy with the foil quill. This one I'm going to use today is from Paige Evans. It has a lot of different patterns and things on it. But it happens to be that I'm going to be making this, which is a picture with flowers in it. It's such a pretty image. So we're going to show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it on some pretty pink paper, and I've got a brand new mat here, and I want to show you a couple tips with mats. Sort of hacks, but not really. Sort of common sense, but these make a lot of sense to help you manage your mats. First of all, this is brand new as of yesterday, and I always write the day that I start using the mat on the back of my mat, so I know I've had this mat for a month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. Kind of gives me a feel for how many I go through, so when there is a sale I can kind of know, well, I need 3 for the next year or something like that, so I'll buy 3 rather than buying too many or too few. It just helps you figure out what your used patterns are like before they wear out. Then also on the dust cover, you want to make sure you don't get this dust cover on the wrong side, where the side that's going to touch your adhesive. You don't want that to become full of dust and things. So to know which side is what and to not keep flipping them back and forth, I put a little sticker. Doesn't matter what it is. This happens to be a bagel with some cream cheese on here, so I know that this is the right side of the dust cover. I also use my hole punch, and I punch a hole in here so that I can hang it. I have some 3M wire type hangers that I can stick to my wall, and I use that to hang my dust covers and my mats together so they're easily accessible. So I just put that hole in there to make that work. So there's, I guess, 3, ooh, sorry this is so loud. There's 3 quick little tips on mat use right there for you. Okay, so I'm going to put this pink paper on here. This is some scrap paper that I had, and I'm just going to put it here. It's much bigger than what I need, but I'm going to put it there anyway. We'll use it up. And then I'm going to use one of these sheets because it's 4 by 6, and that's pretty much what I need. This is in a gold foil. I do find I like these pre-cut sheets for the larger projects because they're really easy to work with. So I'm just going to put it right in the middle. I'm not even going to try to save any of this cardstock for this demonstration. And then I'm going to use my foil quill washi tape. Now any washi tape is going to work. I'm just choosing to use this for this tutorial. Even painter's tape, of course, works just fine. So you don't need to use any expensive washi tape to use the foil quill. So just keep that in mind. No large purchases in washi tape are necessary to use the foil quill. So I'm going to kind of grip onto the edges of that foil and pull it over to the side so it's fairly taut or tight. And then I'm going to put some on the top and bottom too, just to make sure. It's probably adequate, but this way I can pull it up and make it even smoother. I find the smoothness of the foil is not really hugely important. It seems to do a good job regardless, believe it or not. So this is all ready to put in my machine and to start cutting. So I'm going to set that aside now. Let's talk about the foil quill I'm going to use. So this is the medium point pen. I think it's the best general purpose pen to use for a lot of things, and is what I'm finding. And you'll need your brother adapter. And to show you this, it just screws right on. And this tab here is what tells the brother that you're trying to write. So that's necessary for the adapter. Now I've got this connected to a power pack, and I haven't put it in the machine to warm up. I just put it in a glass cup like this, and that way it's safe from being touched by anybody, including myself, until I'm ready to use it. So let's set this aside. Now let's set up our machine. I'm going to bring that in a little closer here. And I hope you'll be able to see everything that I'm doing. Remember, when I'm doing this work, you can easily just stop and rewind, so you can see this a few times if you're lost, and then you'll eventually catch on to it. Some of you will need a few times to view it, some of you will catch on right away. So it just depends on your skill level and how you're used to the machine, and maybe even to the foil quill. So let me show you. Here is this Page Evans USB stick, and on the end here there's a USB I don't know what you call it, a USB opening that you can slip that in, and once that's there, the machine will be able to read the patterns. So we'll take a look at that as we get into it, as to how to pick your patterns and that sort of thing using the ScanNCut. Now these thumb drives hold beautiful images, and I highly recommend them. Not only can you use the foil quill, but of course you can also use them to draw with. So you can do all kinds of fun stuff with these images, and they're excellent line drawings, so they work quite well. Obviously they're designed for this purpose, so including drawing with either the foil or a regular pen. Awesome images. Highly recommend them. Alright, so let's open this up. I'm going to have to replace my blade. Let me tip that up. The blade's going to have to be replaced with my foil quill. Before I do that, though, I'm going to set up the drawing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go home, and we're going to do this. Just hit OK, because we want to get into pattern. You're going to choose the pattern, and then you're going to go to Saved Data. And what you're going to look for is this. Now this means it was saved to the machine, this means it's saved from the computer, but this means the USB. So we're going to press that. Now it's reading the USB. It's got two types of files, PNGs and SVGs. I find it can't read the PNGs, so I choose SVG. And it's nicely organized by folder as to what type of image. So I know from playing with this that my image that I'm going to use today is in the Leaves and Plants folder. So click on that. And I also know that Flower Vase 2 is the one I'm looking for. Now, if you need to know what these different images are, you can put them in your computer and open them up and look at the PNG files, and then you'll know which file it is that you want to use, if it's not obvious. There's a few different flower vases. It just happens that the one I want is called Flower Vase 2, and it's the first one showing. So I'm going to click that. It's going to take a little bit to retrieve that image in. I imagine it's a pretty big file. So it's bringing it in, and there it is. It's teeny tiny. I'm going to hit OK. Now I have to move this to the middle of my mat in order to make it larger. If I try to do that when it's in the corner, it won't change. So now that I've got it in the middle and I've got room to make it larger, you can hit this symbol with all the different shapes on it. It's the editing mode. And then you can click on this icon which has the arrows sideways and up and down. This is your change the shape, basically. Yeah, I'm sure that's not the formal name of it, but that's what I call it. So we're going to enlarge this thing. I want the height to be about 4.75 because I'm going to put this on a A2 size card by the time I'm done. Whoop, I just going a little too fast. Okay, 4.7 high, 4.75 high, 3.14 wide. That seems good to me. I'm going to move it more towards the center, hit OK. Alright, okay. Now I want to know where my image is going to be foiled. So I'm going to choose to scan my mat. So not saying scan the mat and show as background, put materials to scan on the mat and set it to the machine, press start stop button to scan. So again, here is my mat that we set up earlier. I'm going to put it in here. Now notice I still have my cut blade in here, but that's okay. I'm going to feed it, and now I can hit the start stop, and what it's going to do is scan that for me. It's going to scan the mat, and this is going to allow us to know where to put the image. Alright, so you can see that I need to move my image down a little bit or I will end up on my tape. So we're good. That looks good. And now I can draw. And guess what, guys? If I don't do anything here and I just hit start, well, first of all, it won't let me hit start because I need to attach the appropriate holder. So it knows once I've hit draw, I can't cut. So that's one nice thing, you can't accidentally cut it when you meant to draw with it. Okay, I'm going to move this over again a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing here. Now here is my foil quill. It's hot, and I know it's been heating because that light is on. Hopefully you can make that out, that there is a light on. Okay, so I stick that in the holder, or drop it in the holder. It will fit nice and secure there, and press it down. And now I can basically hit start over here again because I've got draw picked, and it's going to start drawing. Now it's going to take 3 minutes for this to happen. I will put this on super fast mode so you can see it work. One thing I want you to know is put this cord off to the side so it doesn't get caught in anything, and you'll be good to go. Remove my machine here so you can see my foiling. You see all the foiling that it did. Let's remove it without removing your mat quite yet, because I'm going to cut this out. And so I don't want to just take it out. I could, I guess, but it seems like a waste of time to me. Do the big reveal here. Are you ready? Voila! Isn't that beautiful? It is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Alright, so now what I'd like to do is cut this out. So let's work on that, and I will show you how to do that part of it. Let's move it back down. So it's this finished drawing. Okay. Alright. And I'm going to go back to my home and I'm going to cancel all the patterns there. So now what I want to do is scan, and I want to first direct cut. And I'm going to cut from the machine. I've got it on recognition mode of color. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it to scan. Move this over for you can see a little bit better. Alright, so it looks like kind of a mess, but trust me, it will be okay because I've practiced a little bit with this and I know how it will work. So I have narrowed down the image. I hit OK. Oops, I don't want it to be too up for you guys, so it's going to take a little bit for it to recognize it. And you can see there it has gotten a good outline. So I am going to say okay. I'm going to put an outline around everything. So there we've got a nice outline. I've used 0.08 for my outline. Now I need to take out my drawing pen, my foil quill, and take it out of here. And I'm going to disconnect it because I don't need this anymore and I don't want it to be hot. Alright, so now I need to put in my cutting blade once again. This is very thick cardstock, so I'm going to set it at about 9.5 just to make sure it gets through it because it's, like I said, very thick, heavy-duty cardstock. Alright, so I'm going to hit, sorry guys, again, I don't want this too tilted so you can't see it, but at the same time I gotta see it. So it's a struggle a little bit. Anyway, we are good with the 0.08 distance. We're going to hit OK, and then OK. It's going to process again, and now I'll be able to cut. Processing, thinking about that, and then I'm going to hit start. Okay, here is my cutout. Here is the pattern. There was this little strange bump here, which will be really easy to get rid of. And just do like that. Now ideally I would like to cut the inside of this out, but I'm going to have to do that freehand with my craft knife because I messed around with this and tried all kinds of different things. I could not get it to just cut this out. I had a lot of trouble. So sometimes it's easy enough to do insides of images and get them to cut out. Sometimes it's harder, and in this case it definitely was harder, maybe because it's reflecting the graphic, I'm not sure. But in any case, I couldn't really get it to work, so I'm not going to show you all my failures there. I ended up not trying to cut it at all. So I'm going to go and use my craft knife to cut that out, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, here is my finished piece. I used a very sharp X-Acto knife and cut this out. I may still do a little bit of work here, but it's pretty close to what I wanted. And I think it's beautiful. And this will be on a card. I think I'm going to do either a thank you or a birthday card with this one and put a sentiment across it with a flag, and it will be quite nice. Alright everybody, here's the project again. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you got something out of it. I'm going to come back soon with another tutorial, and I'm going to show you how to use the fill feature, which is one of the newest features of the latest firmware and software updates that we got from Brother 9 months or so ago, I guess. But it allows you to fill in images. So here is the example I'm going to show you in the next tutorial. It fills in these wings. In the original drawing that's on the thumb drive, it's just an outline. But that's pretty cool, I think, that you could fill in and just get a whole nother different look. And of course this works great too for words and letters and things. So anyway, I'll be back with that, so keep an eye out on it. And in the meantime, I'll be back soon, and until then, keep crafting. Once again, thank you for joining me here today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Keep the fun going and click on one of the videos that I've put up here for your viewing pleasure. Well, that'll do it. See you soon. Bye.